the WNBA continues to get the kind of attention they shouldn't want. All right, again, Colin Cowherd is making a point to talk.
The NBA and the WNBA are getting the kind of attention no league should want. Colin Cowherd is once again at the center of the storm, using his platform to stir the pot. And this time, he's pointing his flamethrower directly at the W, his latest target. Not just Caitlin Clark, but the league's baffling treatment of her. We're talking trade rumors. Yeah, you heard that right. Trading the face of the franchise.
Talk about the WNBA again. He does it now multiple times a week, but only when it comes to one player. Or in this case, one player and what it is the rest of the league is doing to.
And just when Indiana thought they could catch a breath, here comes Colin dumping gasoline on the fire like it's a weekend hobby. Sure, he's dramatic, but is he wrong? That's the real question. Caitlin Clark just finished 9th in player voting behind a teammate. Petty doesn't even begin to cover it. This is a league that's begged for attention, for promotion, for relevance. And now that they've got the golden goose, they don't seem to like the feathers she's laying. Clark brought the fame, the ratings, the private flights, the full arenas. And now the WNBA is playing a dangerous game of sabotage dressed up as strategy. The whispers of trading her aren't just idiotic. They're suicidal for a league struggling to keep eyeballs on the screen.
Caitlin Clark finished 9th in player voting. In fact, she finished behind one of her own teammates in player voting. The pettiness has no bounds. For years, the WNBA players were pointing fingers. They were saying people are sexist, we're not being promoted, we're under a...
Clark isn't just playing ball. She's carrying a franchise and half the league's relevance on her back. The jerseys, the headlines, the TV deals. That's her. One finance professor calculated that Clark alone drove over 12% of the league's economic activity as a rookie on the worst team in the league. Add an 8-year, $128 million Nike deal to that, and she's not just a player, she's a movement. Now imagine boxing all that up and shipping it off. It's so dumb it makes Tank for the Draft look like genius. But the insanity doesn't stop there. She's out with a quad strain, and suddenly the league seems fine watching the numbers tank. Don't call it hate, but it's not love either, it's resentment. Not necessarily at Caitlin herself, but what she represents. Visibility, power, disruption. She came into the league straight from college, no break, just buckets. And instead of being celebrated, she's being strangled by a system that doesn't know how to handle her. Let's talk about her coach. The same coach who once stood idly by while Clark got poked in the eye like it was a halftime gag show is now her boss. That's not a coincidence. That's a power play. This isn't basketball. It's a Game of Thrones subplot.
Appreciated, and then they get the golden goose and they don't like what it looks like. When the wave hits, ride it. They wanted to fly private. They wanted to be more popular. They wanted sold out arenas. They got it. I wouldn't have guessed that Caitlin Clark would be the...
Clark didn't just get benched. She got sidelined politically. And this new coach? Her resume reads like a hit list of passive-aggressive vendettas. They don't mesh, and everyone knows it. The system rejects her like a bad organ transplant. And every time she's subbed out for someone averaging 2 points and a limp, the fans see it. We all do. This isn't coaching, it's containment. Caitlin Clark is the most watched, most discussed, most marketable name in the sport, and yet she's being treated like a liability. The refs don't give her a proper whistle. Her teammates sometimes act like she's radioactive. And the front office? Busy hiring people who look like they're trying to break her from the inside. This is sabotage with a clipboard. Let's not pretend this is about development. If it were, you'd build around your best weapon, not duct tape her talent and bench her while the team bleeds points. Clark is Steph Curry meets media frenzy, and instead of riding the wave, the league's trying to build a dam. Why? Because she threatens the status quo. She has something no one else has: leverage.
Clearly them cutting her down, because when you look at fan voting, obviously Clark is one, right? Because she has the most fans in the league. So that clearly biased. You go to the media voting.
She was 3.
She was 3.
And that scares them. That makes her dangerous. And when you can't control a star, you sideline her. You smile for the press. Use words like system fit and pretend it's all part of the plan. But we're not blind. This isn't about fit. It's about fear. They fear what she can become. They fear that one player can shift the entire narrative of a league that's been built on shared identity, not individual brilliance. That's why they want her quiet. That's why the coach was hired, not to help her, but to slow her. And if it feels like conspiracy, it's because it is. The politics are dripping from every substitution, every post-game quote, every awkward press conference. And if you still think this is just a normal rookie growing pain, consider this. Clark was ranked number 1 by fans, number 3 by media, and number 9 by players. 9th. You think that's about basketball? Then why was she getting double-teamed at three-quarter court by players who supposedly don't think she's that good? Make it make sense. Spoiler, it doesn't.
Sense.
I agree. She's not having the best of years this year. She's actually, her shooting is down.
Exactly.
There's been a number of situations that she's just not played her best ball. But she is still much,
This isn't basketball anymore. It's punishment disguised as process. And Clark? She's out here taking it on the chin, doing her job, avoiding drama, while everyone else plots like it's a political campaign. They don't want her to lead. They want her silenced. And that makes every benching, every odd coaching decision, every whistle that doesn't come that much louder.
A university professor in finance looked up the value of Caitlin Clark for the WNBA. This is insane. So this year,
But what's truly wild? This isn't just about basketball. This is about media power, league politics, old egos, and who controls the narrative. Caitlin Clark entered the league not asking for control, just a fair shot. But her rise was too fast, too loud, too brilliant. The moment her jersey outsold veterans before she played a minute, the resentment started bubbling. It's a tale as old as time, gatekeepers hating the new guard, and Clark is the biggest gatecrasher women's basketball has ever seen. The worst part? She's done nothing wrong. She shows up, works, competes, represents the league with class, doesn't trash talk the haters, doesn't engage in nonsense. And for that, she's labeled too quiet or too privileged. Imagine that. Damned if you do, hated if you don't. She's not trying to be the league's savior, but the league sure needs saving.
activity as a rookie on the worst team in the league when she entered it. So now she has an 8-year, $128 million deal with Nike. So, you know, she's going to eat.
And yet, instead of celebrating her, they isolate her. And what about the coach? The Indiana Fever didn't hire her for her offensive brilliance. They hired her because she could keep Clark boxed in. This wasn't about coaching up. It was about managing down, keeping the golden goose from flying too far too fast. The system wants control, and Clark threatens that. And you better believe those players who voted her 9th, many are vets who've watched their stats drop while Clark stole the show. There's a line between competition and jealousy, and we crossed it months ago. Clark made millions care, millions who never watched a WNBA game. And instead of wrapping her in gold and giving her the keys, the league put her in a political trap. A coach who's never been for her. A system that barely protects her. And now, a narrative being spun that she's not as valuable as she appears. You don't bench Steph Curry and call it strategy. You don't let your star get slammed on the court and say, it's part of the game. You protect your assets. You elevate your stars. Unless you're trying to dim them. And here's the problem with that plan. It never works. The fans aren't dumb. They know who the main character is.
I'm not going to ignore, nor am I going to take my eyes off of what transpires with the WNBA over the next 2 weeks while Caitlin Clark is out with the quad strain. And the reason why is because, let me tell you something right now, I'm not going to...
And they're tired of the league pretending she's just another name on the roster. She's the reason the arena is full. The reason your cousin knows what the WNBA is. The reason sponsors are calling. And if the league continues down this path, playing politics while Rome burns, they won't just lose Clark. They'll lose everyone who came with her. Because fans don't follow leagues. They follow stars. And Clark is the North Star of this era. So trade her, you might as well shut down the season. Because that's not just bad business, it's betrayal. And let's not forget, Clark didn't ask for this storm. She didn't lobby for a statue or beg for a spotlight. She played her game, filled seats, sold out arenas, and gave the W the biggest ratings boost in its history. She gave the league what it asked for. And now, they're trying to cage the lion after inviting her into the jungle. It's not just short-sighted, it's suicidal. The rest of the world is watching. So the WNBA better decide quick. Are they building a future around excellence, or are they so scared of losing control they'll burn their own house down? Because make no mistake, if Caitlin Clark walks, she won't walk alone. She'll take the fans, the sponsors, the broadcast deals, and the future with her. And no culture first slogan will save the league then.
He hates Caitlin Clark, or other players hate Caitlin Clark. But I will say this, I don't think it's specific about Caitlin Clark. I think it's what Caitlin Clark represents. See, it's through no fault of Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark balled. She balled at our